Welcome back, guys. We are at the homestead working on some projects. It has been so great having a truck. We were able to pick up some gravel, start collecting wood and other materials that we need for the greenhouse. Taku's been hard at work clearing up the forest.
Well, take a look at that. That huge pile of trees turned into mulch. Now we got a lot of nice mulch for the garden. That'll be useful for sure. But whew, my mouth is so dry. I need some water. And yeah, that was a good amount of it. Check out the forest. So this, yeah, entire, like, it was so dense before. And you couldn't even see down there to that little driveway there. Couldn't even see that at all. So we cleared a good amount of it here. And we still need to do some more work on that end. But we got a lot of those trees. Those smaller trees that just catch on fire. You know, if there were to be a fire here, it's going to come right up this hill. This is a pretty steep hill here. You can't really tell on the camera, but if you can see along the fence and imagine that drop off, and that wind is kind of coming into my face right now as we speak. So if the wind was much higher, much stronger, it'll just come straight up and it'll catch the fence on fire and it'll catch the houses on fire right here. These little sheds that we have and the guest house, it'll just catch it all on fire, and that'll be that. So if we minimize the fuel on this hillside, we can likely save our home.
Taku is also trying to finish up the kiln spot and needs a cover in case it rains, so he's putting some cement for the wooden frame. We have the project supervisor on site and the assistant to the project supervisor. I realize we're not being very helpful, so I get the project supervisor out of there. But of course, the project supervisor is a micromanager. We've all had one of those, and I have to come back to tell him he needs to find something better to do.
Probably like right there.
Might want to wait though, huh?
Yeah, maybe my sink.
But we should fill in around it so that.
Look at what Taku found. There's some bones in here. And in there you could see a little tiny skull. Taku's always finding skulls. Every time we go mushroom hunting. I don't know how well you guys can see that. looking nice.
Huge difference, huh?
Yeah.
Now you got sunlight.
And right now, we're actually going to have lunch, and we've got to gather one of the most important ingredients from the garden.
Okay, and check this out, guys. We are harvesting our mushrooms. Look at this. We planted these mushrooms. Our friend Louis from North Spore came to visit us, and he showed us, how to plant all these mushrooms. We did this one. We did a bunch of other different styles too, but this one's the first to come up. It's only been about 2 weeks, and this is already ready to harvest. Check that out. Blue oysters,
So big,
I believe
so
they are.
nice.
These are huge, dude. Look at that.
Really nice. And we have lion's mane growing on the other side.
Yep, that's a big cluster. Look at that. Beautiful.
Nice. Water this a little bit because of the lion's mane still growing.
Yeah, the lion's mane's coming up. Look, it's starting to pop up.
Oh, nice.
Yep. But that'll need a little bit more time. Oh yeah, this side's popping up too. A little bit. Keep it covered for now. Give it some shade. This is a perfect bed to do it in because we have these potatoes growing. That's kind of providing a canopy, nice shade for these mushrooms. So we're able to grow them.
Yum. All right, let's get cooking. And I'm going to be cooking up some birria tacos with those mushrooms. I saw a recipe online of mushroom birria, and I really want to try it because we have those. It was perfect timing when I saw that recipe because I have a birria blend that I've been wanting to use, and then the mushrooms popped up, and I was like, what should I make? And then I saw someone made a birria taco, so I was like, all right, could be good. We are starving, and I'm excited to eat these mushrooms. I'll leave a link to the recipe down below, but since I am using the birria blend, I'm not really following the recipe. It's kind of more of a inspiration, I guess. We're heating up our Dutch oven, and we'll toss in all our spices in here. The spices going in there. Just gonna cook that for a quick minute. Gonna throw the onions in, tomatoes. Now that it's starting to soften, I'm gonna put some stock. Chicken's all I've got, so that's what we're going with. The gelatinous after being in the fridge. I'll throw our spices in as well. We're gonna bring that up to a boil and then let it simmer for about 15 minutes, I would say. While the consomme is cooking, we've got the mushrooms in here with some onions and just doing them in small batches so they all cook and get a little crispy, you know. Since we technically grew these, they're nice and clean and not soaking wet. It's pretty nice. I gotta cook this. Let's dip some of these and get cooking. Let's get some cheese on this guy. Some mushrooms. Look at these.
They look great. See, you just needed that little dip
Yeah.
in there, and it makes all the difference. Oh yeah. Mmm.
Mmm.
Yeah, that's bomb.
Mm-hmm. Good use of these mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Very bomb. Very good. Nice kind of crisp tortilla with a little bit of crunchy cheese as well. Obviously really cheesy. And these oyster mushrooms are, you have a nice meatiness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Very delicious.
We need more mushrooms.
We'll have plenty more.
Ooh, lion's mane. I don't know what we're gonna do with that yet.
Stay tuned to find out. Once we harvest. That one's gonna maybe be another week.
Oh, so good. For reference, this is what the forest mostly looks like without us cleaning it up. Nicely cleared up over here. Still got a little more down there, but all this has been cleared away. You can actually see the trees here. There's still a little bit here and there that we need to still clean up, but this is a major difference. You can actually see the road down there, which we couldn't see before. You can see the base of the trees. This was all covered by bush, essentially. It takes a really long time. I think it was about 3 days of clearing and chipping over here, and we still have quite a bit more to do. This morning I was making mochi waffles, and Taco is more of a savory person than a sweet person, so I told him we could try putting birria on his and make them savory waffles. But then he was like, I have a better idea, and he actually got his leftover rice, put it into the waffle maker, put the birria with some cheese, and then he topped it with more rice, closed the lid and let it cook like a normal waffle until it was really crispy, kind of like a little burnt rice kind of thing, and it was super good. And then instead of using like maple syrup, we just topped it with the birria broth, and it was so good. I would make that again. If you have a waffle maker and leftover birria, you should make that. It was bomb. That crispy rice. Oh, yeah. It was a random thrown together thing, and it was probably one of the most delicious things we've had this week. This week we're going to do a little more work on the greenhouse. As you can see, we've got our little trench going. My dad actually dug this out for us because they were visiting this weekend. We wanted to work a little more on the greenhouse, so that's why we started that. That's going to be one of the first things that needs to go in. We want to have water in the greenhouse, so we're doing a line in there, and we're going to throw the gravel and all that. But we didn't really get to work on the greenhouse because something else more important came up.
Today I'm working with Diggy Smalls. I had the guys that are going to put in the well, the well drillers, came in yesterday and checked out the site to see if it was going to fit the truck. Basically, it's a really long truck, and it's we got a tight space here. So I've dug everything with Diggy Smalls, this whole flat patch, and it's really long too. It's like maybe 50 feet long. But I just have to do a little bit more work on it, actually on the outside, so they can make a little wider turn to coming into the spot. Just gonna work on that today and hopefully get that done because they're coming next week. And we got Roscoe as our assistant. Hi buddy, how you doing today? Fantastic. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting this corner because otherwise it's a really too sharp of a turn coming from there over here up the driveway. So I'm shaving that off. I'm going to shave all of this too. Okay, Roscoe has come to inspect my work so far, and he said, nah, you gotta flatten this part a little bit more. You know, you need to do more work here. Yeah, you're right. You're right, I do need to work on that spot. Yeah, he's a harsh critic when it comes to digging.
Taku started digging out that site and preparing it months ago, but then the rain came and the vehicle that they used to dig the well is way too heavy, and they were saying like it's going to end up sinking, so they couldn't build the well there. And honestly, it kind of was fine because most of our water comes from the rain. So for the last few months, we've been perfectly fine not having access to water. Next week, we'll have the well installed. We'll start on the greenhouse, and we'll probably take you guys throughout the whole process of the well, because as I said earlier, that was one of the reasons we almost did not close on this place, is the lack of water. And I think that's actually why this house was on the market for a while, is there was no water. Most homes here don't have good producing wells. However, from talking with people, we found out that most people just kind of choose a spot and start digging and hope they hit water, and that doesn't always work. And we actually went a different route. We hired someone who essentially took an x-ray of the ground and could tell where there should be water. So we'll have more on that in the next video. We'll see you guys then.